For the past few months, a new animation YouTuber called Miguel Munuera has risen with 50k subscribers and millions of views. His most popular videos are about Disney, Ghibli, Sony. Disney, Ghibli, Sony. Disney, Ghibli, Sony. Disney, Ghibli, Sony. Ugh, you only got 3 things on this channel. Jokes aside, he's basically the definition of Disney bad, other studios good, which isn't new, but making it a focal point of your YouTube channel isn't a good idea. Sure, Disney hasn't had a good track record with their animated films in recent years, but that doesn't warrant comparing them to everything. And yes, this includes Glitch Productions. From the moment this poll was created, I already knew what was gonna win, so I was prepared for this video to come out. Granted, this isn't the first time Miguel has discussed Glitch, but that was about how indie animation was winning against big corporations like Disney and DreamWorks. This time, it's about Glitch taking over animation as the anti-Disney. I think you get the gist already, so let's begin this commentary video. The first thing he says is that Glitch is
a tiny indie studio out of Australia.
I'm sorry, but Glitch is not tiny. They have a large number of employees working for them. You can see more names here than any recent animator vs animation episode. As for being indie, I have a few points to make throughout the video about it.
Struck unprecedented deals with Netflix and Amazon.
This was one of the points I wanted to make. Getting your show on Netflix and Amazon is an achievement, but it also means you're not really independent. It isn't like publishing your games as an indie developer on itch.io, GameJot, or even Steam and Nintendo Switch. It's most likely a complicated process, which is why there was speculation that the reason The Amazing Digital Circus episodes 5 and 6 weren't on Netflix for a time was because of the release of Murder Drones on Amazon Prime. Anyway, throughout the video, he discusses the usual stuff we know about Glitch, how they started out as SMG4, used their money to make their own cartoons and eventually make other creators' dream cartoons come true, etc. He only adds a few new things to the conversation, like this obscure comment on Reddit from the post-production lead at Glitch, confirming that the Gaslight District really pushed the limits for Unreal Engine, which is a big achievement from Glitch. Otherwise, it's a run-of-the-mill video praising Glitch Productions, but there is a reason I'm making this video, and that's because throughout the video, he either gets something wrong or is oblivious about indie and or internet animation history. For example, he says that Glitch's first 3 shows before The Amazing Digital Circus would get bigger views each episode while showing us a fake live view count.
Why did you lie to us?
If you check the actual view count for every Meta Runner, Sunset Paradise, and Murder Drones episode, they go up and down between releases. In fact, they've never surpassed their first episode's view count. On a somewhat related note, did you know that during Glitch's early days, they were funded by the Australian government via Screen Australia?
And the wildest part is that Glitch did all of this outside the traditional system, without studio executives or a big corporate parent company backing them up, which is great.
To be fair, the last time we were informed that Screen Australia was funding Glitch was with the 2nd season of Meta Runner. Whether they're still funding them is unknown, but you aren't really correct about Glitch not being funded by third parties.
Glitch releases everything for free on YouTube. Just free, which sounds insane when you consider how expensive animation is to produce.
Don't get me wrong, it's great that everything Glitch Productions has released is free to watch, but has free web animation not been a thing since Mondo Media and Newgrounds? Granted, things weren't professionally made like Glitch's content, but they had surprisingly good quality for being free. Sometimes they even reached professional quality. You know, I could see why people compare the success of indie animation to current Hollywood blockbusters. Wait, I shouldn't have said that.
Just for context, the most viral mainstream animated movie this year, K-pop Demon Hunters, got 325 million views on Netflix so far. That's a Sony and Netflix movie that cost $100 million plus to make, while one Amazing Digital Circus pilot has significantly more views than that. Is that not absolutely nuts?
I think this is the worst comparison I've heard about the amazing digital circus. K-pop Demon Hunters reached 325 million views in the span of 3 months, which is something he completely glosses over, which the amazing digital circus's pilot took close to 8 months to get to as well. From doing the math, it's highly likely that K-pop Demon Hunters currently has a bigger viewership than the TADC pilot, which, funnily enough, a month after Miguel's video was uploaded, it was confirmed that Demon Hunters passed 500 million views on Netflix. Wow, it's almost like being free doesn't always mean bigger views.
Is that not absolutely nuts?
We're nearly halfway through the video and already some of the things he says come off as ridiculous. At this point, I would stop here because I wouldn't like to waste time complaining about everything he says, but there's an elephant in the room that has to be addressed. Knights of Guinevere. Personally, I find the pilot okay. I just wish everyone who talked about it wasn't saying it mocks Disney. Seriously, is this the only big thing I hear about the pilot? Anyway, you can already guess what Miguel had to show and tell regarding Knights of Guinevere.
Disney's own creators are jumping ship. The comment section was flooded with former Owl House fans celebrating that Dana could finally tell the stories Disney wouldn't let her make, while Disney execs have to watch from the sidelines. Kinda says everything about who holds power now.
The pilot is only at 17 million views as of uploading this video, which is the lowest out of any glitch pilot. That wasn't before the Murder Drones pilot. I doubt any Disney executives care about it. If anything, they would care more about Digital Circus's success.
Really recently, over these past few months, a lot of executives just around the animation Hollywood sphere have been contacting us and have just all been asking, how the heck do you guys do it? What is going on? How are you getting this fan following?
When he brings up Glitch Presents, he doesn't mention Owen Rogers, the creator of Final Space who, in my opinion, actually had it worse than Dana Terrace. When Warner Bros. Was in the process of merging with Discovery, Final Space got cancelled. That's bad enough already, but after the merger, it was removed from HBO Max and then written off. Meanwhile, Disney just shortened Dana Terrace's show The Owl House. Don't get me wrong, that was also bad, but at least it wasn't written off. In fact, I have to appreciate Owen Rogers for taking his situation more maturely than Dana Terrace. After what happened to his show, he fought Warner Bros. Discovery hard to allow him to finish Final Space, and after 2 years, he was given a license for a graphic novel to end the series. Dana, on the other hand, was definitely not fine with Disney ending her show so abruptly.
I was pissed off one day, and this became a cathartic release.
Ironically, she would come back to write a novel for The Owl House. Anyway, back to Glitch Presents. This is another point I wanted to make regarding Glitch Productions as an independent studio. Distributing cartoons like Lackadaisy to streaming services is already a great step forward, but would you still call them independent? I'm not saying you should stop supporting them because, oh no, they're no longer indie. I'm not supporting them anymore because of that. I'm just asking if calling them indie at this point makes sense or not. Personally, I would say they're pseudo-indie, I guess. They're not owned by a large corporation, nor are they large like one. They just have over 100 employees, many partnerships. Yeah, I think the problem is Glitch is saying they're indie, but stuff like this makes us think otherwise. Not even Rooster Teeth before Fourth Screen acquired them called themselves indie. Overall, this is not a good video. If it were from a very small YouTuber, I wouldn't care, but this is coming from a new YouTuber who has been rising for quite a while. The thing that makes him notable compared to the Roundtable, Cartoon Universe, Valsky Bum, etc. is his anti-Disney videos that generate a lot of views. Again, making it a focal point isn't a good idea because it's not an ongoing topic you can do videos about forever. Instead, why not make videos talking about Disney's real, horrible actions? That's what being anti-Disney should mean. Another reason this isn't a good video is that it made me realize most YouTubers only scratch the surface years of indie animation. It's all glitch, spindle horse, a few pilots, and something that has already been discussed many times before, like Newgrounds. If you're lucky enough, you can get a section about something like Channel Frederator or Storytime Animation, but those are just short sections that more or less shout it out. The scope of indie animation is much larger than that, and there's potential for videos about things that are overlooked, yet have contributed or are currently contributing to the production genre, like Homestar Runner, object shows, multi-animator projects, stick figures, especially Hayun's dojo community, and Gakka animations. No, not those animations. I meant the ones made by animators who were paid by Gakka gaming companies like Hoyoverse. That's debatable though, but still, indie animation has an obscurity problem. YouTubers only talk about the most popular ones, and sometimes they glaze it too much. The only way I could see things changing is if somehow the others get a boost in popularity, or more logically, we start making videos about those overlooked topics. Anyways, goodbye.